ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यशान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः देवाय तस्मै नमः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः
नारायणः परो व्यक्तात् अण्डमव्ययसम्भवम् अण्डस्यान्तस्त्विमे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Now we are in the, I think, the 52nd verse. Let us read that 52nd and 52nd verse. Yada te mohakalilam बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिभिः प्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यसि निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिः तदा योगमवाप्स्यसि. Now, this is of course the second chapter. Now, just by way of context, the story goes like this, because Arjuna is being taught to let go of the outcome of the results of action. In fact, who are you to let go really? Because the outcome takes on its own thing. You say something and it's understood a certain way, and you have no control over that. And then, or you indicate that this is what you would like to do, but then you do it, but then the result of that is completely different. It backfires. So many times it happens. We cannot really control the results of actions. So then, but that does not stop one from continuing to try. This is the thing. Even though you cannot give it up, I'll still continue to try. And so this is exactly the problem. And this problem here is talked about very, very beautifully. And this is the section where Arjuna is being convinced to just let go. That's really what is needed for this knowledge. Let go of trying to control the uncontrollable. Okay, that's nice. The uncontrollable, I'm trying to let go. Let's see what is uncontrollable. Weather is uncontrollable. That's why it's called weather, because we don't know whether it will rain or not. Okay, yeah, so then weather is uncontrollable, and then people are uncontrollable. So many things in the Jagat is uncontrollable. And if you make a list of all the uncontrollable things, your own body is included in that. It is uncontrollable. Suddenly backache, suddenly stomach ache, suddenly headache. And even that is uncontrollable. And what to talk of the mind? I mean, don't even talk about the mind and trying to have a say over the ways of the mind. That itself seems to be difficult. So if you make a list of all the uncontrollable items. That's why it should be an itemized list, an alphabetical list from A to Z of all the things you cannot control. I tell you, we'll be here all day and all night because there is it just that the list goes on and on. In fact, the more you know, the bigger is this list. So in the end, so we can just scrap the idea of making the list and then just come to the conclusion, bypass all this list making and all this, but just come to the conclusion that one is not in charge of anything, nothing at all, simple. And that being the understanding, if that understanding is in the forefront, then life becomes so much easier. And the whole thing, we talk about all the time stress. Oh, I'm so stressed. Stress goes away. Stress goes away in the light of this knowledge. I mean, forget this is Vedanta, really. Forget Mahavakya and all these things, Upanishads, big, what should I say, big derivations in the Upanishads and big pedagogies. All that leave aside for the time being. The crux of this knowledge, really, in one sentence, what is moksha? Moksha is freedom from stress. Really, that's really what it amounts to be. And that freedom from stress can only come when I understand that nothing at all is in my control. Nothing and nobody, and not anything in this universe I can control. When that understanding comes, then it gets very, very easy to lead the life. There is nothing to do. There is nobody to influence. There is nothing to trouble oneself with. There is nothing to strive. You just greet everything afresh because the mind is right here, right now. The senses are right here, right now. And if you can influence something, and then once in a while one can, and this is a big bonus. If not, then no problem. That also is a bonus. If not, then it's also okay. If you can influence, wonderful, no problem. But you don't go with the expectation that you are going to have this semblance of control in your own life and in the life of others. That's why the modern psychology has come up with the terms control queen, control king, etc. And the Bhagavad Gita knew it 5,000 years ago. And that's what is the teaching here. Let go, let go, let go. Oh, but these people are doing all wrong things. Let them do wrong things. There is a police force, right? Of course, they are, right now that's not a very good example with what we are hearing in the news. But still, there is a certain way to, there is a certain mechanism for wrongdoing. Let that take over. There are lawmakers who are in charge of making the laws, and there are people who are in charge of what to do when the laws are broken. Oh, but this is all upsetting. Yes, it is upsetting. And that upset has nothing to do with the situation at hand. That upset is here. I have to own this upset, and if the need for control, which is cast out powerfully, because I don't want to look at what is askance here, right here. So it is upsetting. I agree. I understand that it can be upsetting. And if it is upsetting, then it's the Vedanta is an inside job. I look within. I heal whatever needs to be healed. I look at what is going on. I look deeply at and compassionately at what is it that is needing, that is so coming out in so many waves and so many difficulties. What is it that's going on? How to overcome this? I take the responsibility of looking at this for myself. And then it doesn't matter what the rest of the world and what other people are doing. It doesn't matter one single bit. Doesn't matter at all. And so therefore what? Therefore, then there is a new way of looking at the world and at myself and at other people. The whole world becomes my training ground. The whole world is helping me to, it's like a big, what is that? Pair of crutches or a walker that's helping me to learn to walk the fine line of dharma. I have to be okay with myself. So I have a premium. I put a premium on righteous living because at the end of the day, I have to live with myself and I have to be okay with myself. That is what I look at. And that is what I try to be. I'm okay with this, with dharma, with righteous living, with putting the emphasis on this kind of a way of life where I don't come into conflict with anybody because I'm not fighting with myself. If I'm fighting with myself, then the whole world becomes a boxing ring. No, the world is not a boxing ring. What is this world then? The world is a place where I discover how to walk without getting disturbed and without disturbing others. This is moksha in action. How to walk without blaming myself and without blaming others. This too is moksha in action. This is what I have to learn. And so the whole world and all the every cantankerous person in the world becomes for me a training ground. Instead of, what is easy to do is to immediately start a support group and say, look at that person there. Wow, how idiotic they are. How could they do this? How dare they? One can do that. But that's not, that's just so ordinary. That's just so boring, especially for a person who is committed to their spiritual path. And this is not about religion. This is about living. This is about living one's own truth. So, especially for a person who is committed to their spiritual path, then this becomes very boring to keep pointing the finger at others. This one did not pick up. This one did not do this. This one dropped the ball. This one took the ball home. Here I'm writing a big commentary on how the game of life should be played. And I have appointed myself as an umpire. Why? This is my question. Why? There's already many umpires. There are many people like that who are keeping on talking about dropped balls and balls that have been taken home and people who are not playing right and people who are doing this, that or the others. There are many people who are doing this. So many. Why do you want to jump into that fray? Question number one. And question number two, there are mechanisms already in place for this to happen. And there is a law, there is a universal law. As you shall sow, so shall you reap. There is a universal law that transcends all religions. And that universal law is something which is very beautiful to see. So there is already there some mechanism for justice. There is some mechanism for being, the world has been going on. Before I came also it was there and now also it is there. And the more I point the fingers at others and their lack of growth and their lack of compassion and their lack of consideration, etc., then the more stressed I get. Because the more responsible I feel, and I take on something that is not part of my portfolio. And whenever I do something that I'm not meant to do, naturally stress ensues. This is basically what Arjuna is being told. Let go of the outcome of your actions. Oh, then I'm not going to act. Well, that is apathy. And even if you say I'm not going to act, that's an action. You have decided, you have chosen to be apathetic. That itself is an action. So, and we are going to see in chapter 4, where a very cryptic verse. Karmani akarma yaf pashyet, akarmani cha karma. Yaha sa buddhiman manusheshu, sa yuktaha sa kritsna karma krit. And then, of course, the translation is the translation is priceless. The one who sees action in inaction, and the one who sees inaction in action. That person, usually they don't say person, they say that man is very learned, buddhiman. And that person has accomplished everything. OMG, how are we even going to understand this? But this is what is one is being called to do. This is the key to that. The key to understanding that particular verse which I just quoted in the 4th chapter are these particular verses in the 2nd chapter, where I understand that many things. First is I have hands and legs. I can act. I have been given the free will. I have the ability to act. And if I have the ability to act, then I act. And then if I have the ability to act, then I have to make sure that I do not take on what is not mine. And what is not mine is the outcome of the action, because the outcome of the action, between the action and the outcome of the action, there are many, many factors that one cannot control. And what are those factors? Hidden variables in the form of one's own karma. One cannot control. One cannot control one's karma. One cannot control one's, the other people's reactions. One cannot control certain circumstances. So many things one cannot control. And therefore, I have to be a buddhiman. Buddhiman means I have to be a wise person. If I'm not wise, everything goes awry. So I have to be a wise person. And the wise person knows that this tenacious connection between the action and the result of action, that has to be severed, cognitively severed. I act freely. And then I just let go of the results. Let go of the results means just having an internal practice. And here is where meditation, etc., comes very, very handy. Having an internal practice so that you get to the place where nothing matters. And truly it doesn't. Nothing matters. Oh, but if I don't do this, that will happen. Let it happen. Do it. Oh, but I did it, but it still happened. See, that's what I'm saying. Nothing really matters other than other than being a person who leads their lives in a responsible way. And Bhagavad Gita's definition of this responsibility is to lead the life without disturbing oneself, without getting disturbed, and without disturbing others. That is what it is. That is Karma Yoga. Without blaming oneself and without blaming others. This is the essence of what is called Karma Yoga. Nothing other than this, nothing short of this. This is all that one has to understand. This is exactly all that one has to understand. And so now with this, I have already summarized these two verses. So let us see 52 and 53 with this kind of with these lenses on. So Yada, Arjuna is being told, Yada, because the question may arise, when can I get this? When is Karma Yoga enough? When will I get this Vairagya? Vairagya means dispassion towards the outcome of the results of action. And answering this question, Lord Krishna says the following. Yada, when they, yours, Moha Kalinam. Moha Kalinam. Moha Kalinam means the host of delusions. Buddhi vyatitarishyati. When your buddhi, vyatitarishyasi means transcends, crosses over. What is the crosses? What crosses over? Buddhi, your brain, your intellect. Buddhi is the subject of this sentence. So yada, when your buddhi crosses over the host of confusions, am I the actor or am I not? And how can I influence people? And how can I get what I want? And all these confusions. Oh, but I have to have my way. Without that, I'm not okay. All these confusions. When the buddhi crosses over, when the buddhi crosses over that, okay, fir kya, then what happens? Tada, at that time, gantasi means you will become future. You will gain. You will gain. What will you gain? Nirvedam. Nirvedam means a kind of an indifference. Vairagya. You will gain vairagya. Oh, Vairagya means dispassion. Yes. You will learn to be uninvolved. Vairagya means letting go. This is exactly what we have been talking about. So, Vairagya means letting go. So, you will learn to let go. You will gain Nirveda means you will let go. With reference to what? Shrotavyasya and Shrutasya cha. Shrotavyasya means things that you will hear about, things that are to be heard. Shrotavya. Shruta means things that are already heard. This is very intriguing. What do you mean by things that I'm hearing and things that I'm yet to hear? What does that mean? Here it has nothing to do with the Shruti, which means Veda. In these two verses, the word Shruti is used differently. Okay, so it has nothing to do with Shruti or Vedanta. Shruti means Vedanta sometimes, but here it has merely to do with things that are talked about. When you see, what happens is that the desire to study is contingent upon recognizing the fact that the liberation is not through doing but through understanding that I'm already free. Because if the freedom was connected to doing something, to an action, then it is very difficult, because then you have competing actions, and you have to choose which action will free me. But that is not the case in the world. We see that action actually binds the person. Action binds, knowledge frees. This can be the mantra. You can write it. You can write it on the mirror and look at it every day. It's a very wonderful affirmation. It's a wonderful affirmation. Action binds, knowledge frees. Why does action bind? Because you don't have a say over the results of action. Hello. That's what we've been talking about. That's why action binds. You don't have a say over the result of action. And then you don't like what comes in return. And then therefore you want to make that different. You want to make that different. And then you want to change that. And if you want to change that, then what do? You have to unleash further and new actions. And then if you unleash further and new actions, what happens? And then again they will have results of action, which again you cannot control. OMG, this is turning out to be an infinite loop, not a very nice loop at that. This is kind of a recurrent nightmare. Yes, that's exactly what it is. And so recognizing that itself is very important. So from that, I come to the understanding that in order to know myself, in order to be free of this action reaction kind of a business, then what do I have to do? I have to understand the truth of myself. Because that which is to be achieved is not away from me. I am free. I am Brahman. I am non separate from Ishvara. I'm all of these things. Which and all of these things I am. And I'm non-separate from Ishvara. I am free. I am whole. I am true. That is the truth of me. I'm the only thing that there is. In order to understand this, I have to discover this. It's already a fact which needs to be discovered. Like if I don't know the meaning of a word, I don't have to do something. I have to look it up. It's all knowledge. And so, knowing this, then I decide to study the Bhagavad Gita. I say, okay, I have committed myself to Monday night class. I am on the path. I am going to do this. And I'm going to get this knowledge. Yes, my what is that? My sankalpa, my intention, and is unswerving. Then what happens? Then somebody comes along and says, something better exists. Here you are studying this Bhagavad Gita. How many verses you said it has? Oh, 700 plus. And you are in which chapter still? Second chapter. How many chapters there are? 18. OMG. You know what? I can tell you, somebody tells like this. I can just show you how to have instant peace, like instant coffee, instant peace. And instant coffee comes, and then what else is there? 1 minute chai. You just open a packet and then put hot water, and then it's done. And then instant coffee, same thing, and then everything. Because we live, after all, in a society of instant, in the contemporary society, which is filled with instant gratification. So, instant moksha, didir, immediately you get, instant moksha you can get. How? Well, come with me. Come with me. I'll show you how. I'll show you how. And one person says, how? Well, there are these things called psychedelics. Try one and you will be instantly transported. And there is a lot of research being done, very good research actually being done on psychedelics and depression and all these things. And so, just come with me, and then we'll just make a short shrift of this. And then, after all, the ancients used to do this. And then there is all these ancient kinds of this. So, this could be one path to instant moksha. And then you don't do this. In fact, Pujya Swamiji used to talk about one Mahatma in Rishikesh, very knowledgeable person, but unfortunately he had a slight addiction to marijuana. Which in those days, even when I first started to go to Rishikesh, I would get down from the train in Haridwar, and then I would take a bus to the ashram. And then that main road, there would be just marijuana plants on bushes on either side of the road. Unharvested, just growing like this. I mean, those who knew. But then nobody really, and now you don't see it at all. Now all of them are gone. The whole vegetation has changed. But then you would see this on both sides of the road. And then so there was this Mahatma who would just take some leaves, greens. This is how he got the greens into his diet. And he would just make a little ball of the greens and keep chewing it. And people would come to him. Mahatma ji, Baba means father. Baba ji, kya, what? Babaji, I'm having lot of problems in samsara. My son is not listening to me. My daughter-in-law is difficult, and I don't know what's happening. And my wife is indifferent. All these things help. I'm very much in samsara. And the Babaji used to say, क्या संसार कुछ सब कुछ आनंद है, everything is wonderful. And of course he had a little special green chewing gum, and and of course he would say everything is wonderful, you're needlessly getting stressed, and then he would send the people away. And Pujya Swamiji would laugh when he told this story. But so that is one way. Unfortunately, a lot of people use this way, and unfortunately this too is finite, because after the effects wear off, where are you going to go? You go, you just get into that again and again. It's no different than using a movie or some other food or something else in order to excavate something called happiness, which is actually centered on oneself and which requires no excavation, it's already there. So this is what happens. The dispassion with which one comes to the Shastra is often shaky. And there's always one more thing there. And then one tells oneself, so what if I miss today? There's always another Monday. No problem. Yet another Monday will come. No problem, I can do something today. And then by the time the next Monday comes, then there is already something else more to do. And in fact, the more one, lets go of this resolve by not connecting with the teachings, then the harder it is to get back on track. Harder it is to get back on track. And so therefore that resolve must always be in the forefront. This is what Arjuna is being told. So yada moha kalilam buddhihi vyatitarishyati. So when your buddhi crosses over all these options, buddhi means the thinking. Oh, I could do this, I could do that. Something else has come along. That is instant promise to do this. Okay, it's not psychedelics, but then what else is it? It is some new form of meditation. If it is not medication, you don't medicate your way to happiness. Then what? You meditate your way to happiness. And how is that? Oh, come along with me, somebody says. And here I will show you this and I will show you that and I will do this and I will do that. And then you will be instantly, completely all right. And you will not need to work so hard and listen and all these things. You don't have to focus, you don't have to do anything. You can be business like as usual. You can have everything and you can have moksha too. And then people go away. The dispassion becomes very shaky. Something better always appears to come along and bedazzle one from the quest. This happens all the time. And so when one hears about a possibility, either a finite possibility or a possibility that promises the infinite, and if the dispassion, if the viveka, the discrimination is shaky, and what is the discrimination? That I cannot produce the finite. The finite is not a product, it is myself alone, therefore I have to know it. And if I haven't made the jump from doing to knowing as a way of resolving my issues, then what happens? The buddhi gets mired in many choices, and most of them are dead end choices. You just crash there, and after one dead end choice, you somehow pick yourself up, come back. Second dead end choice, pick yourself, come back, and when it happens many times, then it leaves one dead end to any possibilities. This is what happens. And so here, the connection between viveka, the discriminative enquiry that I cannot manufacture the happiness that I seek, any kind of a manufactured happiness by itself is something that is a product, and all products are put together. Anything that is put together falls apart, but I want to be happy forever. This is viveka. If this is shaky, then the ensuing vairagya means when this viveka, this discrimination is well entrenched, then what happens is that I can easily let go of the dead end roots. I can easily let go of exploring different rabbit holes. I can easily let go of that because the road is very clear. I can let things drop without pressure to hold on to them. This is vairagya, the cultivation of dispassion. And the two of them are like this. They are very much connected together. They are intertwined. So when the viveka is shaky, then the vairagya is also shaky. When the viveka is well established, vairagya automatically, easily, effortlessly follows. In fact, one doesn't even know that one has given up things. After a while, you say, oh, I used to watch this show regularly. Now I'm not even interested in it. I'm not even turning on that particular show, the computer or TV or anything. Suddenly one recognizes one day, oh, I used to be so much interested in being with so many people. In fact, my day would not go without making 10 phone calls. Now I seem to be contented with just one or two phone calls. Before, I used to be so restless. I had to occupy myself with this, that, and the other. Otherwise, the food I ate would not have digested. But now I am just settling down within myself. I am okay. This is moksha. I am okay. Even if all that I do is just sit and breathe, I am enough. Even if from now to the rest of my days, even if I just sit and all that I do is sit and breathe, enjoy breathing, sit and breathe. Then too, I am totally okay. I am of value. I am fulfilling my purpose every day. And there need not be any kind of a pressure. I let go of the pressure. And when I let go of the pressure, I see that there is that all that needs to be accomplished is already happening. And I'm just at best overseeing whatever is happening. This is the understanding. And so, tada gantasi nirvedam, when you will get this, you will get this vairagya towards everything that is heard. Meaning, whatever you have heard, for which there is a residual value. Oh, I have heard that when you go out, take this pilgrimage. There is a place called Muktinath in Nepal. And then the feeling, the story is that the people around, everything, every temple has a mahima, some glory attached to it. And the glory of Muktinath, which is even further than Pashupatinath temple, which we know about. So this Muktinath temple, if you go there, you get moksha. That's why it's called Muktinath. Mukti means freedom. So then one wants to take a trek there. That is what one has heard. Okay, but we've already said you're studying the Bhagavad Gita. No, I want to make doubly sure. What's the harm in going there? This is how it is. One wants to. This is with reference to what one has heard. And so this whole wanderlust, I have to go here, I have to go there, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to see this, I have to do this, all this thing just drops in the wake of this. We don't even tell people give up. No. In fact, I never say that. I just say let it drop. Let go, let it drop. It will drop automatically. The more you connect with this truth, the more you understand that there is nothing to manufacture here. You are looking into that which has been hidden from view. You are uncovering your own glory. Enjoy. And in the uncovering of the glory, there is more and more clarity and less issues, less and less problems with that. And so that is why, so with regard to what one has heard, Shrutasya, and with regard to what one will hear, tomorrow somebody may come along and say, oh, we have discovered, due to some excavation or what not, we have discovered some, what is that? We have discovered a more ancient and even a better philosopher than Adi Shankara. Go figure. Here you are putting all your eggs in the basket of Adi Shankara, and you breathe Adi Shankara, you eat Adi Shankara, you sleep Adi Shankara, and you sleep talk Adi Shankara. And then here, now, maybe Adi Shankara is no longer relevant because this new philosopher, meaning old philosopher, who even predates Adi Shankara is there. Are we phased? No. Because we already have philosophers that predate Adi Shankara, like Vyasa and like Gaudapadacharya, the great, the grand guru of Adi Shankara. We have people like that whose writings have survived. So even if one more new philosopher were to come into the into the fray, we will not be faced, because you know what we are talking about is a knowledge that cannot be improved upon. You are the whole. How are you going to improve upon that? You are the whole plus something else. Well, that plus is is inconsequential, because it's like saying you are infinity plus one. What does that mean? What does that even mean? Infinity plus one is what? Do the math. It is still infinity. And so Arjuna is told that as soon as you get this vairagya, as soon as you get this viveka, this discriminative inquiry, that what I'm wanting is to uncover the glory that is already myself. It is already there. It is me. It is the truth of me. And then it has nothing to do with knowing at all. It is a question of understanding. It's a question of being differently than how I have been. And when that is firm, unshakable, then all the options, door number one, door number two, door number three, I won't even say they close, they disappear. Oh, all these doors, kya hua? What happened? Gone. Gone as a possibility, not there at all. And then it becomes very, very simple. And so the Bhashya we can skip, because it's basically just repeating whatever we have said so far. We will look at the verse number 53. But before that, we look at the connecting Bhashya to verse number 53. Moha Kalila Tyaga Dwarena Labdhatma Viveka Prajna Kada Karmayogajam Phalam Paramarthayogam Avapsyami iti chet tat shrinu. The segue is very beautiful. Adi Shankara gives very nice segues, and this one is very beautiful, very touching. So here is, he imagines that Arjuna is asking a silent question. Moha Kalila Tyagadvarena. Through this awareness resulting from the crossing of this mire of delusion. And then Labdhatma Viveka Prajnaha. So Labdhatma Viveka Prajnaha means the one who is the prajna, who is wise. Wise with regard to what? Atma Viveka Prajna. So the one who has gained Atma Viveka Prajna, wisdom with regarding to one's own self, that this Viveka, the one who has become a Viveki with regard to the Atma, which is the way to gain this Atma, the one who has this wisdom, that is called Labdhatma Viveka Prajna. So then, so how does one become Labdhatma Viveka Prajna? Moha Kalila Tyaga Dwarena. Very nice it is. That's why I love this segue, because the problem is given and the solution is also given. What is the problem? I don't have, my discrimination is shaky. Every single thing that comes starts to look good and I want to follow it, and I'm losing focus and I'm not I'm unable to just completely connect with Vedanta. So then what do I have to do in order to connect? I have to give up this moha, the delusion. Kalila means a host of delusion. Mired in this delusion like quicksand. I have to let go, come out of the quicksand of delusion. So giving up that delusion, what happens? I become wise. And what is that wisdom? That wisdom is knowing that my Viveka is now firm. I know that this is not a matter of doing and following all these various options which seem to keep on burgeoning every day, but to really focus and connect to this teaching. That is the wisdom, that is the prajna, in order to gain the Atma. So when I gain this Viveka, then what happens? He says, when will I gain this? then when I become a viveki, when will the fruit born of karma phala, karma yogajam phalam, the fruit born of the practice of karma yoga? What is karma yoga? Letting go. Simple. One word definition, two word definition of karma yoga, letting go. So when will this result of letting go? And if I let go, then there is in these, what is that, universal Unitarian churches, they have a saying, let go, let God. And so when you let go, there is space for Bhagavan to show, and there is Bhagavan means the truth of yourself. And so then when Paramartha Yogam, when will I merge with the whole? When will I understand that when will I understand that I am one with Paramartha, one with Ishvara? So when will I get this? And the answer to this is in the next verse. Shruti vipratipanna te yada sthasyasi nischala samadha vachala buddhihi tada yogam avapsyasi. Avapsyasi, you will gain. And again, it's a conditional sentence, very, very straightforward conditional sentence. Yada, when certain conditions are fulfilled, and we'll see, tada, at that time, yogam avapsyasi. Yoga here is not karma yoga. Yoga here means the oneness with yourself. That is what it is. The oneness with yourself, that is what you will. When will I get this? That is when you will get this. So, this is the tada yogam avapsyasi. And then, so here so what is the condition? Shruti vipratipannate buddhi. Buddhi again here is even though it's in the second line, we have to bring it to the first line here. Shruti vipratipanna buddhi yada sthasyati nischala. So the word nischala, Shruti vipratipanna, both are qualifying the word buddhi. So first, the buddhi is Shruti vipratipanna. Vipratipanna means scattered, unfocused, all over the place. Shruti means, here again, as I told you earlier, Shruti doesn't mean Vedanta. Shruti here means the first portion of the Veda, which is a treatise of wish fulfillment, which deals with so many desires, as we have said. And so for those who are not familiar with the first portion of the Veda, the word Shruti can be defined, can be understood rather as all the options that are there in the universe. So many options, so little time. So Shruti Vipratipanna means completely mesmerized by that. Vipratipanna, mesmerized by so many things in the Veda. Oh, how to have children. Oh, there is a yajna for that. Okay, let's try. But you already have children. Okay, let's see if the Veda works or not. Let's try and see. And then how to get money. Oh, there is a yajna for that. How to get rid of annoying people. There is a yajna for that. Very, that's all in the Atharva Veda. That's why sometimes when we talk about the Vedas, the three Vedas are only counted because the Atharva Veda, if it is not understood properly, lot of gadbad. Gadbad means chaos, can ensue. Lot of things are there. And there are very elaborate rituals. Very elaborate rituals. And so there was one person who I had known of, and no more here in this earth, passed away a long time ago. And he had not studied Vedanta, but he had studied the first portion of the Veda very well. Some kind of a Pandit he was. He knew the Vedas by heart. And then somebody came to him, and this was during the British regime, when they had these small kings and principalities. So one such small kingdom in South India. And so there was the reigning, what's its name? The reigning musical genius in the king's court, called Asthana Vidwan. This is what was called. The musical genius is given the title of Asthana Vidwan, means you are the reigning musical genius and you have been selected after a competition. Now the current Asthana Vidwan, that reigning musical genius, died of old age, and so that place, that position became empty. And soon the king and his courtiers and other people who knew music put together a competition. So all the people were eliminated, and there were two finalists, and one of them was clearly better than the other. Even though they were both very good, one of them had more voice control, had much more of a range, and had much more of an ability to go in between the notes, which is what all South Indian music is about. South Indian music, the notes are just for alankara. All the things happen in between. It's really fascinating. It's amazing. That is Carnatic music. And so he had that ability. The other one was also very, very good, but this one seemed to be a little more. So the one that was the second best kind of knew of this man's reputation. And he came to this Pandit and said, I don't know what you want in exchange, but then just make me win, okay? I want that man to lose. Of course, see, you can't have two winners. If I win, that other fellow has to lose. He knows. So he says, I want him to lose. And so in a fit of and this Pandit was, I think, having some was in penury. He was in a very difficult situation financially. He could not afford so many things, and he had a family, and there were so many problems, and his house had been destroyed in the rains and all these things. So, coming under the spell of a little bit of greed or whatever, he did the unthinkable. And what did he do? He said, okay, accepted gold or whatever, something that the person gave. And then it was supposedly very simple. And I have talked to eyewitness accounts of people who saw this. And so he took two lemons, and he just blew over it and said the mantras. And he just gave it to that man in a little cloth bag, and said, without touching the lemon, you just put it under the seat of the competitor. And that's exactly what this man did. And then when time came for this man who to sing, who was so accomplished, he could sing in his sleep. He was like that. And as soon as he opened his mouth, frog in the throat. Again, he drank some water, which was already there. And then he tried again, frog in the throat. He could not get the words out. He could not get the notes out. He could not get even the voice out. And therefore, he was sadly eliminated. And the Pandit was so distraught with what he had done that he just left home, I am told, and then went somewhere in the woods in order to do a lot of atonement and japa, prayashchitta, to say sorry for what he had done. And so, like this, all these things are there. Very effective spells. You can cause rains. You can stop rains from coming, and you can make somebody unsuccessful so that you are successful. All these things are there. Why? Because the first portion of the Veda goes along with your desires. For every desire, there is a solution. Yes, but then there are consequences to reap as a result of following those solutions. And then so what? So therefore, this is what is called Shruti Vipratipanna Buddhi. This is what is called Shruti Vipratipanna Buddhi, because a buddhi that is distracted by and mired in all these options, scattered, scattered and fallen into these choices from which it cannot extricate itself. So when that buddhi stops going after all kinds of quick fixes, options, and something or the other which will help in the moment, but then, as the Bhagavad Gita in the 17th chapter says, that in the moment, whatever gives happiness will for sure is tamasic in nature. Why? Because it will definitely make you suffer later on. Make you suffer terribly later on. And that's what we find with all the quick fixes. What should I say? Act in haste and repent at leisure. That is what the Pandit did. The whole, the Pandit had terrible things. I forgot to say this. The Pandit lost his eldest son soon after this. This was instant karma. The Pandit lost his eldest son, and after that, he just took to a life of a wandering mendicant because he could just not live with himself. And so he lost his wife, he lost his son. So many things happened, and so this way, when those options stop looking glamorous, when I stop going after the golden apples, this is a Greek story. There was one the race to be run. It's all very metaphoric. It's called Atlanta, this Greek goddess, and the golden apples. So she had to go from one place to another without getting distracted. And of course, she saw wonderful golden apples on the way. And then she started to collect them. And then soon she understood, I should not do this. This is exactly how it is. There'll be lots of options, lots of golden apples, silver apples, diamond apples along the way. So yada sthasyati means when it stays. Stha to stay, to remain. Nishchala, unswerving. When this buddhi, which is given to just looking around and delving in various options and being given to various options, when it stops swaying and when it is able to stay, tada, then, so then what happens? Tada, samadhau, achala, achala, buddhihi, yogam avapsyasi. Samadhau. Samadhau here is not meaning. Is not meaning samadhi. Is not meditation and the what is that called? Samadhi here is not some kind of a subject object fusion. Subject object fusion. That is not samadhi. Adi Shankara defines samadhi, and we'll see it next time, as that into which everything resolves. And where does everything resolve? Where does the subject object distinction, where does it resolve? Into I, of course. That I which never resolves. Into that everything resolves. So that it resolves all in the Atma. So he defines samadhi as samyak adhiyate chittam yasmin, in which the emotions, the mind, the buddhi, etc., in which everything resolves. Samadhi means Atma. Samadhau achala buddhi means the buddhi which is unswerving, unswayed buddhi, which with regard to Atma. Samadhau, with regard Atmani. That's what we have to take it as. So with reference to the Atma, and when that buddhi is totally focused on I, the I that is the truth of the body, mind, sense complex, the I that is the truth of the universe, the I that is the truth of the subject and the object without becoming either, the I that is the truth of the thinker and the object of thought and the means of thinking, that I which is everything without being any one thing. That's where my focus should be. That's where the goal should be. And then the yoga that I want. Yoga here means union. That oneness is very much in sight. That oneness alone is in sight, and then everything becomes easy. So how to get that and what to do, etc., we'll see next week. And then this particular verse makes Arjuna have a question in the mind. A very beautiful section is coming up where Arjuna says, I want to know how a person who has attained this, how does a person of knowledge live, walk, talk, because I want to emulate. I want to emulate how that person is. And of course, Arjuna thought he can get away by emulating a person of knowledge, by growing a beard just like that person has, and by wearing clothes just like that person has. That does not make a knowledgeable person at all. You have to have the inner disposition of that jnani. not the outer disposition of what they eat, drink, etc. A very fantastic section is coming up, and we'll be looking into that. And then tomorrow we are starting a new text. What is its name? Aparokshanubhuti. Anubhuti, experience. Aparoksha, direct. The direct experience of oneself. So tomorrow, same time, 6:30 a.m. India time, and then whatever p.m. your time is, please do the math. And so we are starting Aparokshanubhuti, attributed to Adi Shankara. Very nice verses. So I thought we can study that together, because we have finished Shatashloki. So we have finished that, and so we can do Aparokshanubhuti. All right. So the text will start tomorrow. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ. Something nice about connecting to a new text. Feels good. So I'll see you all tomorrow.